Welcome to the channel, folks. This is Each One Reach One. I thank you for joining me today. I pray and hope that you guys are all doing well. Let us give all praise, honor, and glory to the heavenly highest, to our Father, Yahawah, in the name of our beloved King, Yahawashi. Um, Today's topic is not really something that's a matter of great importance as far as you need to know this in order for salvation. But since there's a lot of controversy around these things, there's a lot of misunderstanding about them, it is important to talk about them because, you know, Yahawashi said, you know, come to me, ye that are heavy laden, right? He wanted us to unload our burdens on him and to put off the yoke that we previously had and to take his yoke upon us. What does that mean? He was talking to his people Israel, so he's telling Israel to put off the law of Moses, which was a yoke, a heavy yoke around the necks of the Israelites, and to put on his yoke, which was easier to carry. He was preparing us for the future in which we would go into captivity, right? And so he was giving us instructions for living in those times and when we awaken in these times on what to do, what's of importance and what is not of importance, right? And so again, but some people, the same way Christians get certain things wrong and they have these certain beliefs that are entrenched in their psyches because it's been hammered into them and it has become a part of their identity. Israelites are the same way. We have certain things that are just entrenched in us, part of our identities, and we can't let them go. All right. So I'm here to speak to both mindsets, to both groups today, to the Christians and, for those coming out of Christianity and for those who are of the awakened Israelite community who struggle with some things as well. And so we're going to talk about the Cornelius controversy and Peter's vision. All right. So let's go ahead and go to Acts chapter 10. We're going to start from the tippy. All right. Cornelius's vision. All right. See, because Israelites are constantly having to explain to Christians that Cornelius was indeed an Israelite, which is true. Because what Christians don't understand is the history of Israel and that Israel went into captivity, right? And that during the time of the Roman captivity, the time in which Christ, Yahawashi, was born, they were under Roman captivity. And the same way that quote unquote black people went through captivity when we went into slavery, and now all of these years after first having gone into slavery, we have been assimilated into American culture, right? We speak the language of our captors, right? We share a lot of the beliefs of our captors and the culture of our captors, and we even serve in the military of the nation that enslaved us. It wasn't different for them. There were Israelites who were in the Roman army. They were centurions. They were Roman citizens. As Paul told you, he told you plain and clear that he was an Israelite of the tribe of Benjamin, but that he was also a Roman citizen. All right. So this is what they don't get. You can be an Israelite and a Gentile. You can be an Israelite and a Roman citizen. Now, let me correct something really quick. You can't be an Israelite and a Gentile to the Most High. But in theory, I should say, not theory. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm not even going to wrestle with the word I'm looking for. Basically, what I'm saying is that technically, by blood, you are an Israelite, but the Most High doesn't consider you of Israel if you aren't one of those who he has awakened and poured his spirit upon and brought you to the truth and brought you back to him into his fold, because not all of Israel are of Israel. That's what the scriptures was trying to say, that the Most High has gathered himself, a small portion of Israel for himself. All right. That's what the scriptures mean. All right, when it says that not everyone that is a Jew outwardly is a Jew. You have to be a Jew inwardly, which means you have to be spiritually awakened by him. Internally, he had to quicken your spirit in order for him to consider you his again. He's cherry picking among the bloodline of Israel, which of his descendants are going to be of his fold. That's what was going on. So Verse 1. There was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band, a devout man, and one that feared the Most High with all his house. So he was a devout man, and his whole house, all they of his family and his servants, they all feared the Most High. Now you have to keep in mind, remember, this is during a time when the Most High was only communicating with Israel. He only had a relationship with Israel, only, never with any other nation did he have any prior dealings. All right. And not only that, but on Israel, who the Judites were not having any other dealings with any other nations as well. Not even the northern kingdom of Israel. They were cut off and became Gentiles. And the southern kingdom Israelites of Judah had disconnected from them. They didn't have any relationships or really dealings with them. They were kind of at odds with one another. All right. There was a beef that happened. They had wars with one another all the way up to that point. Like it was a serious rivalry going on between the northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Israel. All right. And so if he's a devout man, that means he was an Israelite. He was a man after the Most High's heart. He was not, just a Gentile Roman who, believed in Zeus or, any of their other pagan pantheon. All right. He was a follower of the God of the Bible, of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's why it is calling him a devout man that feared the Most High Yahawah. All right. But let's go into the interlinear and let's get the word devout, right? Pious, dutiful, all right, well reverent, godly, okay, godly. And we know when it's speaking about God, it's speaking about the Most High. It isn't speaking about, their idols. We know this for a fact, okay? He was a devout man. So if only Israel was following the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, only Israel were his people. Only Israel had the scriptures, had the word of God, had the priests, had the oracles. That means Cornelius had to be an Israelite. He just had to be. All right. He was a devout man and one that feared the Most High with all his house. So it's saying that even all of they of his household also, these were Israelites also. All right. He said, which gave much alms to the people and prayed to God always. So him and his whole house, they gave much alms to the people. To which people? To the Israelites. So you think this was a Roman, a non-Israelite Roman who he was a devout man. He feared the Most High. He worshiped the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And, he was giving to charity and doing charitable things for the Israelites. No, that's not what was going on here. And prayed to the Most High always. All right. Everything that you're hearing is consistent with Israelite practice. All right. With somebody who was either of Judah himself, or he could have been of Northern Kingdom descent. But it was probably more likely that he was a Judite, right? Who just happened to be a Roman citizen. He was a Roman centurion. He was in the Roman army, but still an Israelite. He saw in a vision, evidently about the ninth hour of the day, an angel of the Most High coming into him and saying unto him, Cornelius. And when he looked on him, he was afraid. And he said, what is it, Lord? What is it, Master? This would not have been the reaction of a non-Israelite if this happened to him. This would have been a crazy experience for him to have, because this would have been unlike any other thing that he's heard of before. But he's a devout man that feared the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Right? He loved the Israelites, gave much alms to the people, prayed to the Most High always. He most likely had access to the scriptures, right? The oracles of the Most High, the prophecies, and the writings of the prophets, right? What we call the Old Testament today. He would have had access to those writings, right? He said, "What is it, Lord?" And he said unto him, "Thy prayers and thine alms are come up for a memorial before the Most High." So the Most High has recognized, he's heard your prayers, and he's recognized your acts of service and love for his people, for your people. So he's praying to the Most High always, not to the, the idolatrous pantheon of the Romans. "And now send men to Joppa and call for one Simon, whose surname is Peter. He lodgeth with one Simon a tanner, whose house is by the seaside. He shall tell thee what thou oughtest to do." And when the angel which spakest unto Cornelius was departed, he called two of his household servants and a devout soldier. So he called another devout soldier. That means this soldier who he called was also an Israelite. He worshiped Yahawah. This is being clear here. If you understand the meanings of words and understand the context of what was going on among the Commonwealth of Israel at the time, you understand the captivity, you understand the state of Israel at the time, you know what was going on. So you can put all these things together and form a proper picture and a proper understanding of the scriptures, of what's going on here in the New Testament. All right. And the devout soldier of them that waited on him continually. All right. So that is clear cut and explaining what's the situation with Cornelius. Now we smoothly transition into Peter's vision, because now the Israelites who believe, they have this belief that the Most High doesn't change anything, that he would never do anything differently now than he did once upon a time, which is just patently false. It's incorrect. All right. They try to hold on to the law of Moses because they're seeking their own righteousness. They have the spirit of works. They feel like they got to be doing this thing or that thing in order to have salvation. They don't understand that the Most High was trying to give his people the smoothest route back to him as possible. He was removing out of the way of his people stumbling stones that caused his people to be wayward, right? To go astray from him. Right. And so one of the things that would happen was that through the law of Moses, Israelites would constantly persecute and kill other Israelites over stuff like food. That would be a sticking point. They would hate each other, despise each other, stone each other, and do all manner of evil to each other because of things that were contained in the law of Moses. And the Most High didn't want his children to continue to live in such a way. So he wanted to remove the things out of their way that was causing them to fall and to stumble and to continue to be at odds with him. Because as long as they were killing each other over stupid stuff like food, what you ate, or different or other different things that were under the law of Moses, they would continue to be at odds with him, continue to be at arm's length from him. He would not be able to bring Israel close to him again as long as they were still doing the wicked things that they were doing to one another. This was a father putting an end to the strife and the infighting and the killing among his children. We were going into captivity, and he knew that we would eat our bread defiled of the Gentiles, that we would awaken in this time, and we would have been, so thoroughly entrenched in the culture and the ways of our enemies, that it would be a lot of the ways of our oppressor that we would be carrying with us, including what we ate, the way we ate, the things that we ate. And it would be hard for many of them to divorce themselves from what has just been what has become culturally a way of life. And he didn't want those things to be the thing that kept his people from being able to return to him. So he says, you know what? I have a list of priorities. There's certain things that are a matter of importance and other things that are not important to me at all. If you do these things, you do well. If you're still doing these other things over here, it's not that big of a deal. I'm not going to hold salvation away from you for doing these things over here in this category. But if you do these things over here, that's going to be a problem for you. All right. This is what he was doing. Again, an Israelite struggle with this. But let's continue because of all of that I just explained, you know, Israelites find it hard to accept the fact that the scriptures here is saying exactly what it's saying. So they try to make it say something that it's not saying, which is anti-scripture. You're anti-Bible, you're anti-God. You're trying to change his words in order to fit your own desires, which you should never do that. All right. Let the scriptures be the scriptures. Let the word of the Most High be the word of the Most High. Even if you don't like it, it is what it is. You accept it because he's not going to change for you. All right. And when he had declared all these things unto them, he sent them to Joppa. On the morrow, as they went on their journey and drew nigh unto the city, listen to this. Let's follow context here. All right. A child can do this. Come on, Israel, let's get it together. Peter went up upon the housetop to pray about the 6th hour. All right. Peter went up upon the housetop to pray, and he became very hungry. Not a little hungry, very hungry. So this point about that they're making about him being very hungry as he went to pray is key to understanding the story, this story that's about to happen, this episode that's about to take place. In order to completely understand what's going on here, you got to take into account all of the context, okay? All of it. He went up to pray. He became very hungry. So he wasn't very hungry before he went up there. He went up there to pray. So the Most High put the spirit of strong, intense hunger on him. Suddenly, all of a sudden, he became very hungry and would have eaten. All right. Very hungry, would have eaten. But while they made ready, he fell into a trance, and he saw heaven opened and a certain vessel descending unto him, as it had been a great sheet knit at the four corners and let down to the earth, wherein were all manner of four-footed beasts of the earth, and wild beasts, and creeping things, and fowls of the air. He's very hungry. He would have eaten, falls into the trance, receives a vision of all sorts of animals being let down on a sheet before him, kind of like a, forgive me for this term, picnic, because we know the true origins of the term picnic. But in order to give you the proper visual, without a better word for it, this picnic spread has been laid out before him, so to speak, with all manner of four-footed beasts of the earth and wild beasts and creeping things and the fowls. This happened while he is hungry and would have eaten. And there came a voice to him, "Rise, Peter, kill and eat." He was hungry, very hungry, would have eaten, got a vision of all sorts of variety of animals being let down to him. And then look at the red letter. So we know who spoke to him. We know whose voice it was. Christ. Our master Yahawashi said to him, "Rise, Peter, kill and eat." Kill and eat what? The stuff that was shown on the sheet before him. What is he being told here? He's been given the green light to throw away the dietary law, to eat freely. He's being given liberty. He's being given liberty in eating. And this is for us to read this and to learn, because the things that are written aforetime were written for our learning. So we're getting red letter, the king himself, giving Peter the okay to eat freely without worry. All right. But Peter said, "Not so, Lord." This is how you know Peter understood the communication. "For I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean." So he understood the communication was that he could feel free to eat what he was shown. He understood this, but he wrestled within himself because of the law of Moses, that he grew up culturally under the law of Moses. So this was foreign to him. This was not something that was, ever okay. So he's struggling with letting go of cultural practices. And again, the same way our Father knew that we would struggle with letting go of many cultural practices to this day. So he removed some things out of our way as a stumbling block. We aren't to be practicing Christmas and, Easter and, Halloween and Thanksgiving, all of these things. We were not given an okay to do all of those things, but he is being given an okay to eat with liberty. But he wrestles with it. Let's read it. And the voice spake unto him again the second time, because he's being hard-headed. So it's being reaffirmed to him, what the Most High hath cleansed, that call not thou common. So he's talking about the animals. This whole thing is about animals and food. Don't call the food that the Most High has cleansed, the animals that he has cleansed, don't call those common and unclean. This was done thrice, and the vessel was received up again into heaven. Why did it happen 3 times? Why did he reiterate 3 times? Because Peter was hard-headed. Israel are hard-headed, stubborn, stiff-necked. All right? It had to be repeated to him. It had to be said 3 times in order for him to get it through his head that it was okay, that he was receiving the okay. That it is okay, Peter. It is okay for you to discontinue from the dietary law that you know so well, that you have become used to. All right? So let's let's cut from here for a second. Let's go to Luke chapter 10. Luke chapter 10. Let's start at verse 1. The 70 sent out. So these were the 70 disciples. After these things, the Lord appointed other 70 also, and sent them 2 and 2 before his face into every city and place, whither he himself would come. Therefore said he unto them, the harvest truly is great, but the laborers are few. Pray ye therefore the Lord of the harvest, that he would send forth laborers into his harvest. Go your ways. Behold, I send you forth as lambs among wolves. Carry neither purse nor scrip nor shoes, and salute no man by the way. And into whatsoever house ye enter, first say, peace be to this house. And if the Son of Peace be there, your peace shall rest upon it. If not, it shall turn to you again. And in the same house remain. Listen, in the same house remain, eating and drinking such things as they give. Did he say, don't eat pig, don't eat shrimp, don't eat this, don't eat that? No, he gave them no restrictions, but he did give them a commandment. That you see, same Israelites who say we got to follow the laws, statutes, and commandments. The same Israelites who say you got to follow the commandments. A command is anything you're commanded to do. It isn't just the 10 commandments. A commandment is everything red letter when he told you to do something. That was a command. That's a commandment. All right. Again, verse 7. And in the same house remain. Don't get up and leave because they put pork on your plate. Don't get up and leave because they put tilapia on there. Don't get up and leave because, they served you some shrimp. In the same house remain, eating and drinking such things as they give. He gave no stipulations on what not to eat. He basically said, whatever they give you to eat, eat it. Whatever they provide for you, eat it. Accept their hospitality. You're going unto these Gentiles, and I'm going to cause these Gentiles to feed you and to care for you everywhere you go. But these Gentiles, see, they don't follow the law of Moses. They don't follow the dietary customs and restrictions. So they're going to eat all sorts of things that you're not used to eating. So he prepared Peter. He prepared his people, his disciples, to understand that it was okay for them to accept the hospitality, to eat with those people, and to eat what they provide them to eat. For the laborer is worthy of his hire. Go not from house to house, and into whatsoever city ye enter, and they receive you, eat such things as are set before you. Wow, he just reiterated. Why did he do that? Because stubborn, hard-headed, stiff-necked Israel. He made a point to repeat it because he knew that they would wrestle with it. He knows his people. He knew this would be a wrestling point, a sticking point, a point of contention. He knew it. So he doubled down on it. All right. And into whatsoever city ye enter, and they receive you, eat such things as are set before you. That is very clear. Don't let any wicked Israelite come and stand before you and try to make this not be exactly what it's saying. Otherwise, he's bringing the spirit of Satan. He's opposing the king. He's opposing our Messiah. He is opposing Yahawashi. He is at odds with our power. Let them alone. Depart from them. They're trying to bring you into bondage the way the law keepers did of that day, the way the Pharisees did at that time. Learn how to recognize the Pharisaical spirit and stay far from them. Steer clear. Don't do as they do. Beware of the leaven of the Pharisees, because the Pharisees were extremely hypocritical. All right? They put all sorts of sauce on everything that don't need to be there. They try to force all sorts of stuff on you that is not a necessity, that is not of importance, that is not a commandment. It's the commandments of men, not a commandment of the highest. He came and he gave us everything that we needed for salvation. Not one place. You can't go to a single place in the scriptures and find where he told you to don't eat this, don't eat that. You're going to die if you don't uphold the dietary restrictions under the law of Moses. You're not going to find it. And if it was a point of a point of salvation, if we needed to know it in order for salvation, he would have told it to us. He would have taught it, and he would have repeated it, because that's what he does. He would have repeated it to make the point, but you can't find it anywhere. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 10. See, he just want to eat pork and shrimp. Nope, I don't eat pork. I don't eat all of these I don't eat duck and all of these different things. I have no desire to do it. But if you do your thing. You're not going to be cast out. You're not going to lose salvation or be deprived of salvation because you did so. Read the scriptures for yourself. Learn the things that are important for salvation, the things that we are actually commanded, the things that we are actually instructed to observe, and not the things that people, these men, are trying to put on you because they're just trying to increase your burden, increase your yoke that is upon you. All right. That's all they're doing. They're not benefiting you in any way. All right. Avoid Israel's mistakes is the subject matter of this chapter. Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant how that all our fathers were under the cloud and all passed through the sea. This is a letter to who? To the Corinthians. Who are the Corinthians? Israelites. How do you know that? Moreover, brethren, he says. That's his greeting, his salutation. Moreover, brethren, because he's continuing this talk, I would not that ye should be ignorant how that all our fathers were under the cloud and all passed through the sea. He's talking about the Red Sea, which means everybody who he's talking to, all of these Corinthians who he called brethren, were the descendants of the Israelites who came out of Egypt. They are all Israelites. These Corinthians are Israelites. These Gentiles are Israelites. All right. Verse 2. And were all baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea. Very clear. No arguing. If you're arguing with this, Christian, former Christian, Christian-leaning Israelite, you're arguing with the Most High. That is a satanic spirit. Stop it. And did all eat the same spiritual meat, and did all drink the same spiritual drink, for they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Christ. But with many of them, the Most High was not well pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness. And again, it's the same today, and it was the same in the time of Christ, Yahawashi, in the time of Paul and Peter and all the disciples. The Most High is not well pleased with all of Israel. So his salvation and his fold doesn't consist of all of Israel, because he is not well pleased with all of Israel. Now, these things were our examples, to the intent we should not lust after evil things as they also lusted. Neither be ye idolaters, as were some of them, as it is written, the people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play. Neither let us commit fornication, as some of them committed, and fell in one day 23,000. Neither let us tempt Hamashiach, as some of them also tempted, and were destroyed of serpents, as some of them also tempted. Not all of them. Neither murmur ye, as some of them also murmur, and were destroyed of the destroyer. Now all these things happened unto them for examples. Examples for who? For us who will come later. All of these things that happened before us in our present time, they happen for our benefit now in our present time, so that they can be our examples. All right. And they are written for our admonition, which means for our warning, as a cautionary tale, as a warning for us. For us who? Upon whom the ends of the world are come. Wherefore, let him that thinketh he standeth take heed lest he fall. There hath no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But the Most High is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will, with the temptation, also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. Wherefore, my dearly beloved, his brothers, his Israelites, fellow Israelites, flee from idolatry. See, he's having to tell these Israelites to flee from idolatry. That's why they are Gentiles. They went into idol worship and stopped worshiping the God of our forefathers. I speak as to wise men. Judge ye what I say. The cup of blessing which we bless, is it not the communion of the blood of a Mashiach? The bread which we break, is it not the communion of the body of Mashiach? For we, being many, are one bread and one body, for we are all partakers of that one bread. Behold, Israel after the flesh. Are not they which eat of the sacrifices partakers of the altar? What say I then? That the idol is anything, or that which is offered in sacrifice to idols is anything? But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils. See, now he's making a distinction between those who follow the ways of the Most High and those that do not. They sacrifice unto devils and not to the Most High. And I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils. Ye cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils. Ye cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and of the table of devils. Do we provoke the Lord to jealousy? Are we stronger than he? All things are lawful for me. All things are lawful for me, but all things are not expedient. They're not beneficial. They don't profit me. All things are lawful for me, but all things edify not. Let no man seek his own, but every man another's wealth. Whatsoever is sold in the shambles, that eat, asking no question for conscience sake. What is he talking about? He's letting these Gentiles know, because he's trying to bring them to the Most High, but they're coming from being thoroughly entrenched in the ways of our enemies. He's trying to tell them, you don't have to worry about the dietary law, the laws of Moses. This is not what's important for you to have to adhere to in coming back to our Father. Our Father is not holding you to the dietary laws in order for him to be pleased with you. All right, somebody needs to see it though. So let's go to the interlinear and get the word shambles. What is shambles? A place where meat and other articles of food are sold, aka a meat market. All right, a butcher's stall. All right, so whatever is sold in the meat market, in the butcher's stall, right? That eat. He gives no exceptions, but except such and such. He says whatsoever. That means anything, everything that's there, you're free to eat. This sounds like it's right in line with what Peter was told. Directly right in line with what Yahawashi said himself, directly to the 70 disciples that were being sent out. Paul is not guilty of heresy. He's not saying anything that was contrary to what Yahawashi said. Not at all. All right. He says, for the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. All of these animals belong to him. If any of them that believe not bid you to a feast, and ye be disposed to go, whatsoever is set before you, eat, asking no question for conscience sake. Paul never said, that you can eat freely, you can eat whatever you want to. Paul never told anybody that they didn't have to hold up the law of Moses. What are y'all reading? Christ never said that you can. What are you reading? That's blindness. Blindness in part has happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. All right, so we're going to have to deal with this blindness among our people, but I'm here to speak to the blind and hopefully give you the ability to see. If you have ears to hear, please hear what the Spirit is saying to you through me, through this lesson. If any of them that believe not, right? If they don't believe on the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they don't believe in the Israelite way. They don't believe in our God, and they bid you to a feast. They call you to dinner, and you be disposed to go. Whatsoever is set before you, eat, asking no question for conscience sake. But if any man say unto you, this is offered in sacrifice unto idols, eat not for his sake that showed it, and for conscience sake. For the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. Conscience, I say, not thine own, but of the other. For why is my liberty judged of another man's conscience? Why let your liberty be judged because another person believes that, their own conscience is telling them that, you're not able to eat freely. And so they're trying to judge you according to their own conscience and according to their own misunderstanding. Right? For if I, by grace, be a partaker of what? Partaker of what? Of whatever I wanted to eat, of whatever they offered me to eat, wherever I went. Why am I evil spoken of for that which I give thanks? And they'll try to shame you and say, well, you see, that's a Christian, and you see the Christians, they just believe that, you can eat whatever as long as you say a prayer over it and you give thanks for it. But that's what the scriptures say. So not everything that the Christians believe is wrong. Not everything that the Israelites believe is right. All right. Whether therefore ye eat or drink, or whatsoever ye do, do all to the glory of the Most High. Give none offense, neither to the Jews, nor to the Gentiles, nor to the church of the Most High. That's why they were constantly giving instructions that whatsoever is provided for you, to go ahead and eat it. That's why Peter was warned before Cornelius's people came to him that he can feel free to eat freely. He can eat freely when he went into Cornelius's house. So he doesn't give any offense to his, to the hospitality of Cornelius and his family. The 70 were sent out with the same instructions for the same purpose. Right? Let's go to Galatians chapter 2. Verse 11 is where we will start. But when Peter was come to Antioch, I withstood him to the face, because he was to be blamed. For before that certain came from James, he did eat with the Gentiles. So he didn't just eat with the Gentiles, he ate as the Gentiles as well. But you'll see. But when they were come, he withdrew and separated himself, fearing them which were of the circumcision. And many are doing that now. And The other Jews dissembled likewise with him, insomuch that Barnabas also was carried away with their dissimulation. But when I saw that they walked not uprightly according to the truth of the gospel, all right, because what they were doing, that was not walking uprightly according to the truth of the gospel. As we have read, we understand now what the gospel was saying, what the good news is. See, the good news is us being free from our captivity. The good news is us no longer having the yoke of 613 laws that can kill us. The yoke is that our Father is redeeming us and he's saving us and he's reconciling us to himself, and that he's removing the burden of all of these different rules and laws that we drowned under. All right? He says, I said unto Peter before them all, if thou being a Jew livest after the manner of the Gentiles. See, he's living after the manner of them. He wasn't just eating with them, he was living after the manner of them, which means he ate like they ate. And that's what he was doing. He was eating as the Gentiles ate. When the Jews came, when the other Judites came, when those of the circumcision walked in. Right? If thou, being a Jew, livest after the manner of Gentiles, and not as do the Jews, why compellest thou the Gentiles to live as do the Jews? All right? And so this was the issue. And you can go on and continue to read, but you know what you're not going to find? You're not going to find Peter arguing with Paul. Paul withstood Peter to his face, corrected him, right? Put him on blast, told him about himself. And Peter accepted it, understanding that he was right. Paul was right. So there was no argument. There was nothing to argue. He knew that what Paul was saying was correct. He knew it for a fact. How did he know that? Rise, Peter, kill and eat. He had the conversation. He was spoken to directly by Christ, Yahawashi, and received that message. He knew that what he was doing was wrong. He knew that there was no problem with him living after the manner of the Gentiles, that wasn't a problem. Mark chapter 7, verse 14. And when he had called all the people unto him, he said unto them, hearken unto me, every one of you, and understand. There is nothing from without a man that entering into him can defile him. There is nothing from without the man, outside of the man, that entering into him can defile him. That means food, right? Food is outside of you, and food can enter into you. So it's impossible for food to defile you. It's the inference here, is what's clearly being stated. If you have ears to hear, only those who are wicked with a wicked spirit are going to try to fight this and make what's clearly being stated not the case. But the things which come out of him, those are they that defile the man. If any man have ears to hear, let him hear. That means those who have spiritual discernment. Those who are given the spiritual discernment, let him hear. Because many people can't understand this because they haven't been given the spiritual discernment to understand this truth. You know them by their fruits. And when he was entered into the house from the people, his disciples asked him concerning the parable. And he saith unto them, are ye so without understanding also? Do ye not perceive that whatsoever thing from without entered into the man, it cannot defile him? Because it entereth not into his heart, but into the belly, and goeth out into the drought, purging all meats. See, he's telling you that what you eat, the stuff, this doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The Father doesn't care about it anymore. Did he ever care about it, or was that always just the commandments of men, the traditions of men? That's another conversation for another day. All right? Purging all meats. And he said, that which cometh out of the man, that defileth the man. All right? So that's the important things to understand, is that what comes out of you is what defiles you. All right? Because from within, out of the heart of men proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All these evil things come from within and defile the man, not food. All right. Now, whether these things be good for your health or good for your body, that's not the conversation here. We're talking about salvation. We're talking about what pleases or offends our power. He is not pleased nor offended by what you eat. Neither changes how he feel about you, whether you eat freely or you don't. Neither gives you any more brownie points than the other. All right, that's the case. So let's go back to Acts chapter 10. And we're going to pick up where we left off, which was verse 17, I believe. Now, while Peter doubted in himself what this vision which he had seen should mean, behold, the men which were sent from Cornelius had made inquiry for Simon's house and stood before the gate. Look, he was told 3 times. Well, technically, he was told 4 times. He was told the first time, and then it was reinforced 3 times. But yet he still doubted in himself what this vision should mean. See, that's like right now, despite what the scriptures are saying, many Israelites still doubt within themselves what the vision actually meant. All right, verse 18, and called and asked whether Simon, which was surnamed Peter, were lodged there. While Peter thought on the vision, the Spirit said unto him, behold, 3 men seek thee. Arise, therefore, and get thee down and go with them, doubting nothing, for I have sent them. Then Peter went down to the men which were sent unto him from Cornelius and said, behold, I am he whom ye seek. What is the cause wherefore ye are come? And they said, Cornelius the Centurion, a just man, and one that feareth the Most High, a just man, and one that feareth Yahawah, Bahashem Yahawashi, and of good report among all the nation of the Jews. Listen, and of good report, of good reputation among all the nation of the Jews. He's a Judite. He has a good reputation among all of Israel, among all of Judah. All right. He was warned from the Most High by an holy angel to send for thee into his house and to hear words of thee. Remember, the Judites were not mingling and rocking with people of other nations. That's not what they were doing. They didn't like anybody that was outside of Judah. They didn't rock with anybody outside of Judah. They didn't care for anybody outside of Judah. They were all seen as heathens, Gentiles, idolaters. But Cornelius was a just man that feareth the Most High and of good report among all the nation of the Jews. Now, remember when they accused Paul of bringing Gentiles into the synagogue? They were upset with the idea of Paul bringing Gentiles, aka Northern Kingdom, or aka wayward, idolatrous Israelites, into the synagogues. It goes to show you the Judites' position on the other nations, even other Israelites. If they were not following the Most High, man, you were seen as, something unclean. You were seen as unclean if you were an idolater. All right? So they didn't rock with you. And then when it was being told that these Israelites are coming back to their father, they were still offended at the idea of them coming into the synagogue. Even to come in there to come worship the Most High. They did not even want them coming in there for any reason, even though they feared the Most High and was coming in there to praise him and to learn of him. They still didn't want them in the synagogues, man. So think about that. this man Cornelius had to be an Israelite. He had to be. All right. So he was of good report among all the nation of the Jews. He was warned from the Most High by an holy angel to send for thee into his house and to hear words of thee. Then called he them in and lodged them. And on the morrow, Peter went away with them, and certain brethren from Joppa accompanied them. And let's see. And the morrow after they entered into Caesarea, and Cornelius waited for them, he had called together his kinsmen and near friends. And as Peter was coming in, Cornelius met him and fell down at his feet and worshipped him. But Peter took him up, saying, Stand up. I myself also am a man. And as he talked with him, he went in and found many that were come together. And he said unto them, Ye know that it is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company or to come unto one of another nation. But the Most High hath showed me that I should not call any man common or unclean. So the fact that he called him one of another nation would say, okay, well, maybe he's not from Judah because he said it from another nation. He didn't just call him a Gentile, which means you can be from Judah, but still a Gentile. He said from another nation. Okay, so remember before I said it's possible that he could be from Judah? I was trying to show you something, right? Because of course I read this and studied this. I'm trying to show you like the art of studying. Like if you're studying and you're making suppositions, you're saying, well, maybe he was of Judah. And then, okay, well, now in my head, okay, it's possible that he could have been a Judite. And then, but you keep reading. And then you come to something else. I'm trying to teach you that in light of new information, you update your understanding. This is how you study. Oh, here it says that, it was an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company or come into one of another nation. My common sense tells me that he would only say this to a man that's not of Judah. Remember, those of the northern kingdom they were seen as a completely different nation. They were another nation. They weren't of Israel anymore. All right. They became a separate nation. All right. But the Most High has showed me that I should not call any man common or unclean. So he went back to the idea and the notion of the vision not being about food, but about not calling any person common or unclean, which truthfully, it could be a double entendre. It could be a double entendre. Actually, it is a double entendre because remember, it clearly stated that you don't call anything that the Most High has cleansed common or unclean. Anything, not man or beast. All right? So let's continue. Let's go to Hosea chapter 4. Oops. Verse 15. Though thou, Israel, play the harlot, yet let not Judah offend. Remember, when you read in the New Testament, it's saying Jews, it's talking about Judah, the house of Judah, the tribe of Judah, or the house of Judah. All right, remember, Israel was split into two factions, into two kingdoms. The northern kingdom of Israel, which is referred to as the house of Israel, and the southern kingdom of Israel, which is referred to as the house of Judah. So this is talking about the separation of the two. Though thou, Israel, play the harlot, northern kingdom, yet let not Judah, southern kingdom, offend. And come not ye unto Gilgal, neither go ye up to the Bethaven, nor swear Yahawah liveth. All right. For Israel slideth back as a backsliding heifer, and Yahawah will feed them as a lamb in a large place. Ephraim is joined to idols. Let him alone. Who is he telling that to? To Judah, telling Judah to have nothing to do with Ephraim because they have been joined to idols. They have been cut off. They are now declared Gentiles and unclean. All right. The northern kingdom of Israel has been severed and declared unclean Gentiles now. And Judah is told to leave them alone, to have nothing to do with them. That's why when you fast forward into the New Testament, that's why Judah had a problem, and the circumcision had a problem with the uncircumcision. They were told to leave them alone, that if they were joined to idols, whoever's joined unto idols, they're disconnected from the Most High, and you leave them alone. You have nothing to do with them. That was the state of things in the New Testament. You have to understand the context of what's going on in order to understand what's going on. All right, Jeremiah 31 and 31. Behold, the days come, saith Yahawah, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. So if the house of Israel they went after idols and they were disconnected from the Commonwealth of Israel, they were no longer considered Israel, and they were no longer worshiping him, and they were no longer one nation, and they were no longer having any sort of civil relationships with Judah, with the house of Judah. How would the Most High keep his promise to them if only Judah received the teaching of the gospel? How would he make the new covenant with the house of Israel without the gospel being preached to the house of Israel? Right? And if we know that Judah is who Christ came to, and Judah is the tribe in which all of the disciples, the apostles, came from, in order for him to keep his word and his promise to make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, that means the word of the gospel would have to be sent. It would have to go out and be preached in the lands, in the countries, in the places where the house of Israel was scattered. In order for him to keep his word, they would have to receive the word. Verse 32, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt. This dispels the notion of spiritual Israelites, the converts, taking the place of Israel. That when he says he's going to make a new covenant with the house of Israel, that is talking about the spiritual converts. No, the same people that he makes the new covenant with are the same people that he had the old covenant with. Clear as day here. All right? Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was but a husband unto them, saith Yahawah. All right, let's go to Ezekiel chapter 37. Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 16. Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions. And join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in mine hand. This is the prophecy of Israel being brought back into one fold again, for the two kingdoms to no longer be split. All right? For them to no longer be two separate nations, two separate kingdoms, but to be joined into one house again, to become family again. Right? We know that Christ Yahawashi came to fulfill that which was written in the law and the prophets. Well, this is what was written. Not that he would throw away Israel, but that he would come and save and redeem Israel. That he would come and make the two kingdoms one kingdom, one family, one house again. All right, verse 19. Say unto them, thus saith Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel, his fellows, and will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, one fold, one family, one house, and they shall be one in mine hand. You see that? Look at verse 21. And say unto them, thus saith the Lord Yahawah, Bahashem Yahawashi, behold, I will take the children of Israel from where? From among the heathen, from among the Gentiles. I'm going to send my people out to the lands of the Gentiles. Everywhere my people are scattered and have become Gentiles, become one with the heathen, and I'm going to take my people from among them, whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side and bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation. And I will make them one nation. You see, Israel and Judah became known as separate nations. So when he went to Cornelius and he told him it was not right for a man of Judah to go to one of another nation, as you see, even being a bloodline Israelite, if you were not of Judah, you were declared of another nation. All right. I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all. And they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. You see, neither shall they defile themselves anymore with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions, but I will save them out of their dwelling places, wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their God. Cut and dry. When you let the scriptures speak, man, it's amazing. It's amazing what you get, right? It's amazing. So back in you know what? I'm done. I'm done. I'm not going to continue this. I have some more scriptures, but sometimes it doesn't even make it any sense to continue to go on because nothing that happens after this point is going to be more convincing than the scriptures that already come out. And so if that hasn't been enough, it's not good enough, nothing is going to be good enough. And it really doesn't matter because you can't make straight that which the Most High has made crooked. I've done my service through the spirit and power of the highest. Abba Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi, Wahara Kakwadash, who we give all the thanks, praise, honor, and glory to. All right. Message sent. I pray that it's received. All right. So again, take this, go out, be a blessing to someone else anywhere you know it's applicable. Each one, reach one. Shalom.